Welcome to the John and Heidi Show podcast.
John and Heidi.
Here's John and Heidi.
Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show on a Wednesday. Hey, baby, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. This week is halfway over, and it seems like it just started because we had, kind of a shorter week for a lot of people. Again, thank you for listening. I know there are a lot of things you could be doing right now, a lot of places you could go to get your entertainment. Thanks for tuning in right here to the John and Heidi Show on this station. Got a great guest coming up. Stacy Horn has a book called Damnation Island, and it is a true story about, it's a whole lot of different true stories, but about this particular island in the New York City area where they would send people who were insane. And it's interesting, their definition of insane and some of the people that were sent there and what they were sent there for. Crazy. It's coming up later in the program. Stacy Horn, thanks for joining us. Also, Isaac Newton is our quote for today. He says, "If I have seen further than others, it is by standing upon the shoulders of giants." I love that. What a great quote. Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show on a Wednesday.
If you're a business owner trying to do your own website, maybe it's time to get help. Or if you don't even have a website, it's definitely time for help. It's 2018. This internet thing is here to stay. At 49bydesign.com, we offer a simple plan to get you online for just $49 a month with no setup fee. This includes a website with the hosting and domain name included in the price. We have larger packages available, but this will get you online so people can find you in 2018. We're affordable by design at 49bydesign.com. That's 49bydesign.com.
John and Heidi.
Today is a special day, Heidi. Do you know what today is?
What is today, John?
Well, I thought you'd never ask. It is Wednesday, May the 30th. Today is National Creativity Day. I think you should be creative every day.
I agree.
And it's also Loomis Day today, National Hole in My Bucket Day, National Mint Julep Day, National Water a Flower Day. Well, that goes well with hole in my bucket because if you got a hole in the bucket, that'll water the flower. It's also National Senior Health and Fitness Day. So there you go. A couple of fun things to celebrate on this 30th day of May. I remember, I guess it's not a hole in a bucket. That was a cracked pot. There was a story about a person who had a pot that they would go get water in, and when they would come back, there was a little bit of water dripping from it. And somebody was talking to them about, hey, you should get a different pot so it doesn't leak. But the lady said, I carry this pot because it waters the flowers along the path, so I have a beautiful trip every single day. And I thought, what a cool story. So there you go. Kind of the same thing with the hole in the bucket, but, one way or another. Celebrate something today on this Wednesday.
Are you tired of high cable TV rates? Sign up for Dish today and get a $500 bonus offer while supplies last. Plus, lock in your price for 2 years guaranteed. Call All American Dish, your Dish authorized retailer now.
800-818-3967. 800-818-3967. That's 800-818-3967. Offers require credit qualification, 24-month commitment, early termination fee, and e-auto pay. Restrictions apply. Call for details.
Coming up, we've got your brain on drugs, but first, an Australian grandmother has been sentenced to death by hanging.
Whoa.
Yeah, after a Malaysian court overturned an earlier acquittal. She was acquitted. They overturned it for smuggling drugs, drug smuggling charge in Malaysia. An Australian grandmother going to be hanged, or maybe already has been. I got this story at the end of last week. So, wow, that is quite the tale.
Yeah, it is. I
So,
didn't even know hangings were still a thing
well,
anywhere.
apparently it is in Malaysia. It is. And again, she's from Australia, but she was traveling there, and they say she was smuggling drugs. So I don't have all the details, but there is a link in the story in our show notes page at johnandheidishow.com if you want to read all about it. Coming up, we've got your brain on drugs. Each day at this time, we talk about people doing dumb things under the influence, but addiction is no laughing matter. If you or someone you know needs help, there's a toll-free number you can call.
1-800-438-0380.
That's the Addiction Hope and Helpline.
1-800-438-0380.
And this is your brain on drugs. According to an FBI affidavit, a Colorado man is facing federal charges after allegedly groping a female airline passenger and then urinating on the seat in front of him.
Ew.
Yeah. Can I get an upgrade?
Gross.
45-year-old Michael Allen Haig was traveling from Denver to Charleston, South Carolina on Frontier Airlines, and he became unruly and disrupted the flight. He had been drinking double vodkas and tonics, and he told a woman seated next to him that he was traveling to South Carolina to meet an old girlfriend and was, quote, physically excited. The woman
Gross.
said Haig pestered her with personal questions and kept looking at her chest and legs, and says she was wearing shorts and a tank top. After touching another female passenger and being moved to the back of the plane, he removed his seatbelt and started urinating on the seat in front of him.
Oh, so disgusting.
Yeah. Upon landing in South Carolina, Haig was removed from the aircraft by officers and charged with, I don't know, it doesn't say what he was charged with. I guess the Charleston Aviation Authority police is who picked him up.
Oh, that's so gross.
Yeah. So no word on whether or not the old girlfriend finally had a chance to meet him. I wonder if she knew he was coming or if he was just planning on popping in. Hey, it's on Facebook that you're
Yeah,
single.
what a creeper.
Yeah, that's bad. That's what happens, though, when your brain is on drugs.
John and Heidi.
Now, big screen, little screen. Hopefully we got better stuff today than yesterday. Yesterday was kind of the B team that we were talking about. Like, I didn't know any of the people. But I already know this one. Hugh Grant.
Oh, yeah, I remember
He's
him.
57 years old. I didn't realize that's how old he was. He's going to marry his Swedish girlfriend later this month, and that might have already happened. Again, I got this story here, I think Friday maybe. I don't know when I got it. The NYPD is probing sexual assault charges against celebrity chef Mario Battelli. Am I saying that right?
I don't know.
So,
I don't know. Probably.
Anyway, he was on the show The Chew, and it's been canceled now by ABC 5 months after he had been fired following sexual misconduct allegations. And Michael Jackson's estate is claiming that the new ABC special about the singer is not an accurate depiction of his life. So they're saying, don't pay attention to what they're saying on that special because it's all a bunch of hoobaloo. It's not. It's all made up. It's phony baloney. So there you go.
I didn't know there was a special.
I didn't either. So then again, we don't really watch a whole lot of
No, we
television.
don't.
So if you knew, would you watch it?
No.
Do you even know how to find that channel?
No.
It's one of the majors, ABC. This has been Big Screen, Little Screen, brought to you by ChannelSurferTV.com.
John and Heidi.
Now you can fly anywhere in the world and pay discount prices on your airline tickets. Book a flight today to London, Paris, Madrid, or anywhere else you want to go. And pay a lot less guaranteed. Call the International Travel Department right now at Low Cost Airlines.
800-719-5601. 800-719-5601. That's 800-719-5601.
John and Heidi.
Now, your scoop of the day, courtesy of 49bydesign.com. According to a new study, stressful childhood experiences might affect the quality of a man's semen. So they're saying that if you had a stressful childhood, you might struggle to have children of your own. So that's bizarre. I wonder why that is.
I don't know.
Is that like a protective feature or something? I'm not
don't
sure
know. It's
what's
interesting.
I got a link to the story, by the way, if you're wondering want to get more information about that. Here's a story that I almost didn't read, but I'm going to read it just because I think it is so bizarre, and I can only imagine that maybe some of these people were being silly when they answered the question. But according to a survey of 2,000 men and women, so it's men and women both, according to the survey, 40% of respondents said they would like to have a romantic relationship with a robot. So I don't understand that. And if you are, interested in robots and that's your thing, I guess that's your thing. But I just don't understand that.
Yeah, I don't.
40%
Yeah.
of 2,000 people. All I can
That
imagine.
seems like a lot.
If they called me, I might say, yeah, absolutely. I'm attracted to my toaster even. I'm not. But I might say that just being silly because when they call me, quite often I'm not participating in an appropriate manner. Because a lot of the surveys that they call me, they're asking me stuff that I think is ridiculous. So I answer with a ridiculous answer. Maybe other people do that too. And maybe that explains this.
Well, let's hope so.
I hope so too. Otherwise, 40%? Really? I just don't get it. Best Buy, hey, they launched this thing called the Geek Squad. Remember that?
Yeah.
Well, they have now like a new version of it, and it's a $200 per year subscription for like all you can use or something. I'm not exactly sure what all the details are, but it's a 200.
Well, that's not that bad,
Yeah,
really.
and I don't know
for unlimited tech support.
I don't know if it's unlimited. It just says they have a new $200 per year subscription to their Geek Squad tech services. And can you imagine? Would you want to be referred to as a geek? Would you want the job where you work for a place called Geek Squad?
I don't know.
I don't know if that's a badge of honor. I don't know. Maybe
Well,
it is.
it's not, but I mean,
But I
it's
think
not
they
really.
kind of taken that on like, hey, yeah, I'm a geek.
we'll
It's
own
okay.
that. Yeah.
I'll own it. But anyway, Best Buy launched this new thing, and I guess there's some folks that are super excited and other folks that are not really. So if you're one that's super excited, I have a link to it in our show notes. You can learn more. A highly contagious strain of dog flu is spreading throughout New York City. Now, that is something that dogs get, correct?
Yes.
Dog flu would be dogs.
I would assume so, yes.
Okay, so I don't need to get a shot for this or anything?
Probably not. No.
Okay. And then one last thing here. I think, we might have time for two last things, but at least one last thing. Fewer Americans believe the U.S. should accept refugees. There's a survey they do quite often, and the number of people who say that it's a good idea to bring refugees to America, that number gets smaller and smaller and smaller. And the sad thing is, I actually know some refugees who have moved to our great land from their great land who are wonderful people. But sadly, it's the ones who do something wrong that get in the news, and then it makes it look bad for everybody. So don't throw all the refugees under the bus because of what some people do. And again, that survey, the details are in our show notes. And last story for the day, for the scoop of the day anyway, Britney Spears is back in the news.
Okay.
Reportedly, she responded very, very well to the first reading of a musical featuring her songs. It is set to debut next year. The tentative name is Hit Me Baby One More Time, which is, of course, her first big, huge hit. And there are people, again, that are super excited about this musical. Now, would you go to something like that?
Probably not. I'm not I do not like musicals.
I watched what was the thing called? The Greatest Showman? Is that what it was? The Greatest Show on Earth? Something like that?
Know.
It was
horrible.
It wasn't horrible. It was awesome. It was Hugh Jackman.
Horrible.
Hugh Jackman, who is Wolverine, singing. He was a singing fool in this show. So it was fascinating to me, and I thought it was pretty cool. So anyway, Heidi's not into musicals, and she's very distracted by something. So I'm going to wrap things up. This has been your Scoop of the Day.
John and Heidi.
Do you have ideas for t-shirt designs, but you don't have a clue how to print them? Or maybe you'd like to have t-shirts and coffee mugs available to buy online with your business logo printed on them. There's a website that makes it easy. We set ours up in about 10 minutes. There's no sign-up fee, no minimum orders, no monthly fees. It's just a really easy way to put some cool items online for sale, and you get paid every time somebody buys them. You don't have to print or ship anything. Just sign up, upload your designs, and then let people know where they can get your cool stuff. More details available at radiosavings.com. That's radiosavings.com.
John and Heidi.
Thank you so much for listening to the John and Heidi Show. Today is a special day. We've got a guest joining us about a new book that just came out, and Stacy Horn is the author of Damnation Island, Poor, Sick, Mad, and Criminal in 19th Century New York. Stacy, this is kind of scary when you read this because all of the stuff that's in here really happened, didn't it?
It did. It reads like a horror novel, but it's nonfiction.
So this is how we used to take care, and I say take care in very loose terms, of the people who maybe weren't doing so well, people who probably needed better medical attention. Why is it that that's the way they treated people then?
The city of New York started out with the best of intentions. Blackwell's Island, now called Roosevelt Island, was this beautiful pastoral island in the East River covered with fruit trees, and the idea was to take the poor, the sick, and the people suffering from mental illness away from the city of Manhattan and all the stress and to put them on this lovely island where they could, relax and get better. But two things. One, they didn't really think it through in terms of putting people who were poor and sick and suffering from mental illness along with people convicted with crimes all together on the same island. And they didn't realize how many people they would ultimately send to the island. Because in the 19th century, people didn't really have a sense of how many people were suffering from mental illness, and they didn't really adequately predict how many people were going to be suffering from poverty. So it became like this mass incarceration of all these different groups, and it was too expensive. So to save money, they just started doing things like hiring convicts from the workhouse to work as nurses and attendants in the lunatic asylum. And that went just about as well as you can imagine.
What was the population of this island at its peak?
They were sending every year from about 40 to over 50,000 people every year. And maybe at any one time, like the average daily population was around 7,000 people, which is a lot in the 19th century, yeah.
And for a small little island, that's a ton of people.
Yeah.
Now, what were some of the things that you would do that would have you end up on this island? Because I can understand I'm reading here poor, so just not having enough money, they'd say send them to the island. Is that one of the things they would send you there for?
Yeah, homelessness was a crime in the 19th century. So it started out, if you were poor, you could be sent to the almshouse, which wasn't a wonderful place. One of the wardens said that care has been taken not to diminish the terrors of this last resort of poverty. They didn't want it to be pleasant so that people would try to get into the almshouse. But after a while, they decided that anybody that, wasn't disabled or old and infirm or a child couldn't go there. So the only way you could get help would be to get yourself committed to the workhouse. So now you're a convict in a prison.
That is just crazy. Again, the book is called Damnation Island. It just came out. Poor, sick, mad, and criminal in the 19th century New York. Now, what inspired you to take on this project? Because I got to tell you, Stacy, this is kind of a weird topic for a book. It's fascinating, but what made you say, I got to do a book on this?
Well, I guess I have morbid interest, but I grew up in New York, and I was always vaguely aware that something happened on that island. There's ruins of one of the hospitals on the southern end, but I didn't know quite what, and so I was just curious. Like anything where there's a story that's forgotten, I want to resurrect it. And then in the process of my research, then I learned just how bad it was. I mean, the workhouse, I learned that women, and I think this is a surprise to most people, women were sentenced to the workhouse with greater frequency than men. I don't think people know just how often women went to prison. In fact, even children went to prison. One very, very sad thing I learned was if you were poor and you were sick and you needed to go to the hospital, you would go down to the superintendent of the poor and get evaluated. And if you were found to be truly poor and truly sick, they would send you to various hospitals. But if you had syphilis or any kind of sexually transmitted disease, you couldn't go to the hospital. You had to get convicted of a crime and sent to the penitentiary, and you would be treated there.
Oh, wow.
Even if you were a child, and just terrible, terrible things.
Again, the book is out right now. It just came out. The book is called Damnation Island, Poor, Sick, Mad, and Criminal in 19th Century New York. Our guest has been Stacy Horn. Stacy, thank you very much for doing the book, and thank you also for taking the time to chat with us.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
We're going to throw a link to this book in our show notes at johnandheidishow.com, and I see Stacy has a website as well. It's stacyhorn.com. Thanks for listening to The John and Heidi Show.
John and Heidi.
In a world that constantly tells you you're not good enough,
12 easy ways to lose weight now.
it's easy to start believing that. I'm Amanda Johnson. I have a new perspective on the self-help genre. My book, Becoming Enough, A Heroine's Journey to the Already Perfect Self, will guide you to find your own happiness. Learn to block out the distractions of what the world thinks and learn to be happy with who you truly are. Becoming Enough. Available now on Amazon or learn more at amandajohnson.tv.
John and Heidi.
Fun fact for you, Heidi.
What's that, John?
No word in the English language rhymes with month, orange, silver, or purple. And I'm going to throw a cautionary flag here. We read a grandiloquent word, herple, that rhymes with purple.
There, yeah, that's
so
true.
Come on, people. This isn't accurate. At least we know that one's wrong. How many other words out there that rhyme? And I know herple isn't a normal word. It's a grandiloquent word, but
it is
a word nonetheless. Fun fact for you, Heidi.
What's that, John?
The sixth sick sheep's
What?
sick is said to be the toughest tongue twister in the English language.
Huh.
Sixth sheep's sick. I can't even. I'm reading it slowly and I can't get it right.
It doesn't make any sense anyways.
It doesn't. And finally, what do you think is the shortest complete sentence in the English language?
I don't know.
I've heard people say I do is the shortest
What about
and
yes?
longest sentence.
Or no.
The shortest sentence is go. Go. That is the shortest complete sentence in the English language.
But couldn't...
No.
No?
No. It's go. It can't be no. Maybe they tie. Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show.
John and Heidi.
If you're a business owner trying to do your own website, maybe it's time to get help. Or if you don't even have a website, it's definitely time for help. It's 2018. This internet thing is here to stay. At 49bydesign.com, we offer a simple plan to get you online for just $49 a month with no setup fee. This includes a website with the hosting and domain name included in the price. We have larger packages available, but this will get you online so people can find you in 2018. We're affordable by design at 49bydesign.com. That's 49bydesign.com.
John and Heidi.
It's time now for the grandiloquent word of the day, and the word today is cryospasm. Cryospasm. Do you think you know what the word cryospasm means, Heidi?
No.
CHIROSPASM. Chirospasm. Did I say that? Did I say cryo
probably.
before?
I don't know.
Chirospasm. I think
Okay.
I said cryo, but it's chirospasm.
It's a spasm in your back.
Well, maybe. It's close. A chirospasm, I think I did say cryo before, but it is chiro, like chiropractor. Chirospasm is a spasm of the muscles in your hand, also known as writer's cramp. So if you have writer's
I don't know why
cramp,
that would be chiro.
chirospasm. Well, it's bones. Chiro is not back, it's bones.
Oh.
So chirospasm, and it says from the word, let me see here, element of the hand, spasm. So CHIR, word forming element meaning hand, from Latin form of Greek chiro. Anyway, a chirospasm is writer's cramp. I've gotten that before. As a matter of fact, I get that a lot now because I don't write very often. So if I have to write something, even just like a page with like my hand, not typing it, I'm done. I'm like, wow, I cannot believe how much my hand hurts because I never write.
Yeah, I know. I don't
So
write
a lot
very
of
often
chirospasms
anymore
these days. I got to use the sentence, the word in a sentence. Chirospasm, your grandiloquent word.
John and Heidi.
Now you can fly anywhere in the world and pay discount prices on your airline tickets. Book a flight today to London, Paris, Madrid, or anywhere else you want to go. And pay a lot less guaranteed. Call the International Travel Department right now at Low Cost Airlines.
800-719-5601. 800-719-5601. That's 800-719-5601.
Now, some weird news for this Wednesday. We have a baboon in the news. He was on his way to South Texas Wildlife Sanctuary, and he escaped the crate in San Antonio at the airport there, the international airport. Officers put him down with a tranquilizer dart, but the ape got loose, I think it was last Monday afternoon, shortly after arriving from Chicago. The flight originated in Boston, so went from Boston to Chicago. He had a lot of layovers, this little monkey did. Did you see this on the internet at all, Heidi?
No.
It says here he was in the baggage handling area outside the terminal, and the baboon never came close to travelers. He was confined the whole time to security baggage area. The animal's name is Dawkins. He's being transported from Brown University in Providence, Rhode Island, to the Born Free USA Sanctuary Ranch in Texas. So I've got a link to the whole story. I can only imagine if you were walking along, looking out the windows, and you see a baboon running past, and you're thinking, my flight is never going to leave on time. There's no way.
Or you're thinking you had a few too many drinks on the airport bar.
How long have I been waiting here? It's like Planet of the Apes all of a sudden. All right, this has been Weird News, brought to you by 49bydesign.com. Now, your moment of duh. A Kentucky man is back behind bars when police say he stole an orange jumpsuit from the jail. Ron Charles was arrested after leaving jail. In Prestonburg, police responded to a complaint of a man running in an orange jumpsuit, a prison jumpsuit. Police tell the station Charles admitted to taking the jumpsuit because he thought, quote, it would be cool, end quote. They confirmed the jumpsuit was stolen from the correctional facility, and he was charged with disorderly conduct, menacing, and theft, and was previously arrested on Tuesday for public intoxication, possession of marijuana, and carrying a concealed weapon. And now he got rearrested for stealing the jumpsuit. Good news there, sir, Mr. Charles. You'll get to wear that again because you're going back. He thought it would just be funny to be running down the road wearing a prison jumpsuit. Which
that is kind of funny.
It is kind of funny, but it's not funny when it's a real jumpsuit and you really stole it from jail. Now, if it was purchased from a store and it was just a gag, for doing, like video or something, that might be kind of funny. But what he did, not funny. As a matter of fact, it's today's moment of duh.
John and
In a world that constantly tells you you're not good enough,
12 easy ways to lose weight now.
it's easy to start believing that. I'm Amanda Johnson. I have a new perspective on the self-help genre. My book, Becoming Enough, A Heroine's Journey to the Already Perfect Self, will guide you to find your own happiness. Learn to block out the distractions of what the world thinks and learn to be happy with who you truly are. Becoming Enough, available now on Amazon, or learn more at amandajohnson.tv.
John and Heidi.
Time now for fake news or Florida. Tell me, Heidi, if this is a true story that happened in Florida or if it's something made up on the spot.
Okay.
Just to try to trick you.
I like how you always try to cover the screen like I'm...
I don't want you to even have a chance to look over here and see what
Okay.
I'm doing. What's on my screen is my business. So here we go. What's on my screen is usually illegible to me as well. So I'm not sure why I even have this screen. All right, tell me, is this fake news or Florida? Clearwater, Florida woman arrested in a bathroom after police said she tried to light a paper towel holder on fire. Fake news or Florida?
Florida.
Yeah. You probably gave it away when I was trying to skim through and only read the details. Clearwater, Florida woman arrested at the Tropicana Field, home of the Tampa Bay Rays, when police say she was trying to light a paper towel holder on fire. 50-year-old Lisa D. Walker was at the game when she went into the women's restroom to attempt to set fire to the paper towel holder using a lighter. There was no permanent damage. They also noted that she had appeared to be intoxicated.
Yeah, I would hope so.
And had a small amount of marijuana in her possession. She was arrested on charges of disorderly conduct and possession of marijuana. So, there you go. This could have also been our brain on drugs story then. But
I wonder what the reasoning... I mean, why would she want to set something like that on fire? I just don't understand.
Maybe she just thought it would be funny. I have no idea. Why do people do what they do?
This is true.
There's so many things. And so
People do strange things.
People do strange things, Heidi. They absolutely do. This has been Fake News or Florida.
John and Heidi.
This portion of the John and Heidi Show is brought to you by the John and Heidi Show. That sounds kind of funny, but it's true. Go to your local radio station and ask them to start carrying the John and Heidi Show. Here's the best part. They can carry the show for free. They play a couple commercials, but it doesn't cost them anything every month. So if you know a radio station that could use a little bit of help, send them our way. Send them to johnandheidishow.com. Again, johnandheidishow.com. We would love to do a radio program in your community. Then you could listen to the podcast and listen to us on the radio.
John and Heidi.
We always like to wrap things up around here with good news, and I think this is good news. You ready for some good news, Heidi?
Always ready
You need
for
a
good
double
news.
dose of good news?
Yes.
Well, I don't have a double dose, but I'll give you what I got. I'll give you this much. Good news, by the way, comes your way courtesy of Odiva. That is a monthly subscription service specifically for the ladies. All of the details at radiosavings.com. And this is kind of an interesting story right here. The story's headline, I always start with the headline because that kind of sums it up but doesn't tell us everything. Then I got to tell you more. When woman moves into rundown house following divorce, neighbors help fix it up for free. So this is, again, a story where people just come together and help. And it says,
Where was this?
This was actually in Tennessee. After 26 years and a divorce, I decided I really needed to return home. I bought a small, run-down house, nearly a century old, and began working on it to bring it back to life. Aside from a little family help, I did it largely on my own. While I was working on my house, I had several neighbors stop by to compliment my work and my effort in restoring this little house. Those neighbors, and many others, later returned to offer their assistance with whatever my current project may be, much to my great appreciation. It says here, my neighbor Tommy had come over in the dead of the winter to fix my plumbing when the pipes froze, and he helped me clear the brush and assist me in building my chicken coop. He helped me build raised beds for my garden, as well as a fence to protect it. He even built and installed a clothesline for me, and his entire family had been very kind ever since my move. And it was one neighbor after another, like her other neighbor Mark used his tractor to level the property so it would be mowable. It had been Humpty Bumpty before. Many neighbors were happy to help, a lending hand, and even gave her homemade candies for Christmas. And again, this is just a story of a person who she was having kind of a rough time, and she was trying to better herself, and the whole community, all the neighbors around her, pitched in to support and help
people
out.
Step up.
I think that's really good. And the thing that's neat, all of these stories, several of them recently, were submitted to the Reader's Digest Top 10 Nicest Places in America. And there are, I think, Yeah, still okay. You can still submit your stories, and there's a link in the story that I'm reading. And if you want to find this story, I've got a link to the story in our show notes. So there's a link in the story, and there's a link in the show notes to get to the story. But you can do that by June 5th. So you still got a little bit of time. If you've got a great story of people lending a hand and helping out, because they're trying to find the top 10 nicest places in America. I think there's some nice people around here.
Oh, absolutely.
There's so many nice people. So if you have a story you'd like to submit, you can do that through the show notes page at johnandheidishow.com. Time to say goodbye, Heidi.
Goodbye, Heidi.
Goodbye, everybody. Have a great day. Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show on a Wednesday.